Hello everyone, welcome back to the Zach GP channel. It is pain, it is suffering. Nothing went wrong, nothing went right this weekend for F1 Fantasy for me. I could have gone for the Red Bull differential. It looked like a great move not to go there on the Saturday. Then we all know what happened. Antonelli crashes out. Well, not crashed. Antonelli's car gave up on him. It just didn't work out. But it's one of those things where I go through this every single season and I say you can have 2 to 4 of these sorts of races each Grand Prix season. I don't know why I said Grand Prix season each season. And you'll still do fine. Of course, it hurts in the moment, but it's one of those things, a long season to go. My plans haven't changed for Monaco, so that helps out there. It's just the points are a bit of an eyesore. Stroll doing Stroll things. I can't catch a break, especially with Albon getting that 0.6 million increase. Yeah, it was horrible. I'll need to have a look more at the budget and the points and stuff. But yeah, it wasn't ideal. Well, I think all of you could understand that. But let me just get the chat up as well, and I'll see how everyone's doing. Hopefully, all of your weekends went slightly better. That would, I'm hoping so at least. But it's one of those things. You live and you learn, and we'll see exactly what can come out from this. Because points-wise, budget-wise, I just moved down minus 0.1. So budget's still fine. It's just the points are really suffering now. I think I've dropped down to 16,000th, 18,000th, which isn't good. Really want to be minimum in the top 10k for a season. So we'll see what happens. It's like I said, I could have done 10 times worse though. So thank God. Thank God at least Russell improved a bit. But the Mercedes race pace just like that, it looked like there was nothing there. I don't really know what happened. It's one of those ones. It was like, if you remember Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, the Mercedes just did not have pace throughout that whole, on the race pace, for the race. Well, the race pace for the race, yeah. And then the Ferraris all caught up and stuff. It was very similar to this. Ferrari's race pace was staggering. It really makes me think what I know they probably wouldn't have gone any higher. But they have qualified better if they went mediums and then went on to then got into Q3. Who knows? Only time. Well, I mean, we'll never know because it didn't happen. But yeah, enough of me moping about. Let's have a look at the live scorings, and it's. First of all, if anyone went crazy on Verstappen, huge congrats. Fastest lap and driver of the day. Yeah, Rude. It's one to forget, but we have a few of these every single season. Sorry about that. You might see me coming in and out today. A little bit crazy. Yeah, no, the actual race itself was incredible. Considering I came into it thinking Imola, it's not going to do well. Boring race, barely any overtakes. And then because of the different strategies, it then became a masterclass. Now, Stroll, oh my God. Stroll still, by the way, would have been completely fine if he had just decided that he wasn't Stroll. Because Alonso showed, yes, it didn't work out, down from 5th place, but he still actually had a good recovery after that safety car. But then Stroll got stuck behind, it was Lawson, and he had a few chances to get him, but then once Lawson was in Gasly's DRS, it was game over. There was nothing he could do, which was annoying to see. But yeah, basically anyone who had Red Bull, any sort of Red Bull assets, Fast, Yuki Tsunoda, you're pretty much sitting pretty. Silver Penguin asks, I'm not sure where I go with budget now. Ocon, Stroll, and Colapinto have nuked me. Yeah, I'm honestly in the same boat. I'm lucky just to have basically broken even on budget. So we'll see. All I know is I can tell everyone right here and now, straight away, we knew this was going to happen anyway. I was hoping it wasn't going to be with a DNF. But Ocon, he's out. What's it called? Gasly, or it'll either be Gasly replacing him or Alex Albon. I haven't made my mind up. I need to see whether or not Albon's points are just enough, because he's obviously quite a bit more expensive in in value. So that means he needs more points. Whereas Gasly, I think with his Miami results, was it Miami? One of the Gasly having, wait, if I go over to the season summary statistics, I mean. Gasly has that good haul of points. So I still think he's actually the one we're looking at to get in for Monaco. Where was it? Where's Gasly? It was Miami. So he'll have 18 points. And bear in mind, Gasly will now be, if I head back over to the team calculators, Gasly's going to be very cheap now. So I'd be surprised if everyone wasn't going for him. He's 8.2 million at the minute. And that's right now. He'll then go down minus 0.6. So he'll be 7.6 million with 18 points to his name, plus an extra 4 points. So Gasly, actually, let me get my phone out and do some quick maths for you. Gasly will be 18 plus 4. So 22 divided by 3. This is just with his points alone. He needs, divided by 3. I think on his points alone, he's already clear of what he needs to go up next weekend. And then you add on an extra 0 to 5 points, let's be cautious, from Monaco, and you're sitting pretty. So it definitely will be, if we go back to the live scoring, my team will be take out Ocon, bring in Gasly, 100%. It's then we need to figure out if Stroll is still an option. I think he should be, because the 25 points from Miami should cover him, considering he'll now be worth 9.5 million again. So let's see how close he is to the points threshold already. 25 minus 2 divided by 3. No, wait. Sorry, my bad. My maths was completely wrong there. No, it wasn't. 23. I haven't done the maths for a while. Divided by 9.5 divided by 3. He's 0.8 at the minute without any extra points from Monaco. So minimum, he'll get a 0.2 million increase, which again is looking like the main thing we want to do. However, it's then looking at Nico Hülkenberg, who I potentially could risk taking out. Probably not Hadjar, because I still like the look of him, and I think he'll be fine. Colapinto would be the one I take out. And then what we would do is Ocon to Gasly. Colapinto, probably. Colapinto over to Hülkenberg, because Hülkenberg now has enough points potentially to keep going up 0.6 million. If he's at 6.6 with the 10 and with his Miami points. We'll see exactly what the maths will be for that situation, but I believe it should be okay to do. And then we roll from there, because I generally do think budget can be helped if Ocon and Hülkenberg are out, and Ocon and Colapinto are out, Hülkenberg and Gasly come in, because then that would hopefully be 0.6 from them, 0.3, 0.3, 0.3. Would mean we'd have to stick with Mercedes. I mean, actually, I might ask everyone how they're feeling about Mercedes, because I think it was a one-off. We've seen at some tracks they just don't have the race pace, like in Jeddah. So we'll see exactly what can happen from this point. Yeah, Lannister, I know it really didn't go to plan. Luckily, you did get Lannister into the Albon, which was good, because having Albon and Stroll cures the pain a little bit, considering I had Stroll and Ocon, because I was like, yeah, Ocon will get the 4 points, and he wasn't looking terrible. He wasn't having a great race by all means, but when you start near the back, all we needed was for something to happen, just not to him, which was quite annoying. But I'm going to ask everyone, will you be sticking with Mercedes? The reason I think sticking with Mercedes is still the norm It's just because, like I said, ebbs and flows. Who's actually got the fastest car, and we've got more issues to sort out with the teams. So we'll see. Yeah, Zuera 178 is good. I would say for anyone out there, if you got over 150 points this weekend, you could be happy. Anyone who got over 100 points, bad weekend, but not season ending. And anyone who got less than 100, that's a season ender. But it's one of those ones where you can always still recover from stuff. It's just painful to see. Let me show you exactly what could have been my team, even with Ocon. What percentage of teams used Williams instead of Mercedes? I can actually have a look, I believe. Does it not show in there? Actually, I'll show the team I could have had as well. If I'd gone with the differential, then it would have been Colapinto, Stroll, and just this one move would have completely saved my weekend, getting 203 points. I mean, budget-wise, I still would have been in a hole, but these things happen. Then potentially in Monaco, I could have had the issues of trying to figure out how to get rid of Red Bull as well. So it could still work out for us. And I think it's very 50-50 at the minute. I think I still am on the sticking with Mercedes. They should be fine coming into Monaco. I'd be surprised if they weren't. Is there anywhere where we can see the percentages on F1 Fantasy Tools? Because they're taking their sweet old time over at F1 figuring out the points, which is always good fun. I believe it was a low percentage. I don't think many people have elite data. Right, sweet. Let's figure it out, shall we? Yeah, they only have... So the patrons, everyone who uses F1 Fantasy Tools, only 6.8% have Williams. And I mean, just look at the stats for McLaren and Mercedes. Incredible, absolutely incredible. This one hurts because obviously I went the Stroll route and most people didn't. Yeah, I thought it'd be a bit higher, to be fair. I think in the actual game, you'll notice it probably is around 10 to 20%, I think, because Williams was one of those ones a lot of people probably stuck in their team at the start. And then anyone who hasn't moved it has done that. Now, what makes things interesting, by the way, is Colapinto. Colapinto on the F1 Fantasy Tools patrons, he's 78.3%. But in the actual game, he's only got 9. Last time I checked before the deadline, it might have been a bit skewed, but only 9% had picked Colapinto. And considering what we knew coming into this Grand Prix weekend, I genuinely think, was it one of those things where do we have only 9% of engaged managers left? I'd like to get everyone's thoughts on that, because in my head, that's what I was thinking, because everyone and their mothers was getting Colapinto win, because at 4.5 million, he is a still on a weekend where budget wasn't really moving that much. Maybe it was a higher percentage picked, 10%. 10%, you see what I mean? I don't know why also I didn't just show the percentage of... it's because I don't have Williams on my team. That's why. Most people play only the first weekend. Yeah, but I was just really surprised, because to me that's a clear sign that 10% of the teams are still playing the game like in depth sort of thing. Like a lot of people would go, a lot of casuals, fair enough. But yeah, 10% I thought was quite low. I thought coming into this weekend, Colapinto's pick rate would be over 20% minimum. But I guess there are about 2 million teams, so that 10% is about 200,000, and 200,000 engaged players, or divide by 3 because people have 3 teams, but it skews. Like people like me, sometimes we just mainly focus on team 1. 29% picked Williams. I was one of them. Ryan, yeah. One great thing as well, by the way, if you did have Williams and if you were going the budget building, route, this weekend really might have saved your season, because I was telling people if you had over less than 105 to 106 in budget, go for McLaren, Williams, and Piastri. And for anyone who did that, you've now gained a lot of budget on the Mercedes people, and for anyone like me who got quite unlucky with the budget building. So that would push you much closer to us. So huge weekend for that. And I mean, hey, I'll ask this in a second, but how's everyone thinking about Williams heading into the future? Because I think they do look strong, but I need to see one more weekend. Let's say we get to Monaco and they still look half good. Then potentially we could start seeing again people going McLaren Williams because there's no clear-cut second best constructor. Yeah, Ryan, I 100% that's put you right back into the zone of things. Fraser says 115.6 million and about 100 to 700 in the global leagues. My damn, that is really good, Fraser. Honestly, 115.6, you'll be able to afford McLaren, Piastri, Antonelli builds. That's one thing I actually wanted to have a look at, but we can't look at it yet because they haven't finalised the scores, which I was surprised about. I pushed this live stream back because I was thinking surely by 7 o'clock ish they'll have to have the game like ready to go again. But we're pushing on 7 o'clock in 8 minutes and no sign of it. It's just doing its provisional points. So they're not even calculating, which means we've probably still got another half an hour minimum, which is quite annoying because I wanted to see. I'll ask that in the poll now. By the way, 50-50 with Mercedes. I think that about sums up how rubbish the weekend was for Mercedes. Is Williams an option to use for points and budget now? Yeah, it won't be too long, but I know they, especially when you have a race that's a little bit hectic with a few DNFs and overtakes and such, which there were surprisingly quite a few overtakes. I mean, in general, it's one of those things. It's so frustrating because that's why I try to keep everyone pumped as well for F1 Fantasy, because when you have a bad F1 Fantasy weekend, it can really ruin your mood, especially when most of the times I found out Australia, Imola, I mean they're not as good as each other. When we have a great race, it normally means that sometimes it's because something crazy's happened and it affects your F1 Fantasy team. So then you're like sort of sitting there like, oh, I should be loving this, but I can't stop thinking about my F1 Fantasy team. So it's hard to not separate them, but I think I did it okay for Imola. And I'm hoping everyone else did if you struggled this weekend, because it was, on Imola terms, it was a great race. I really didn't expect anything like that. Seeing the Ferraris charge up, virtual safety car, a safety car, 2 DNFs. I mean, there weren't crashes, but there were 2... cars breaking down. It had drama. Yeah, it was a half bad race. Like, it was not a half bad race. I generally would give it around a 6-ish out of 10 for races, and I think that's about right. Yeah, Jesus. What? A full, yeah. Oh, my bad. Right. Have you used Limitless? Yeah, I used Limitless in Miami. So I think it should still let me show completed ones, yeah. I use Limitless in Miami, but I've still got extra DRS, autopilot, all of those good ones. And just remember, one good swing from one of those and you're back into it. And I mean, I keep saying like back into it. I'm still in the top 20k. It's just annoying because it's annoying when you have a real bad weekend and everyone everyone does really well, especially when it's a few differentials that didn't work out that way. But you just have to sit and take it, and at least you don't have to sit in it for too long. We've got Monaco coming up, which is great, and I've already got to start thinking about what to do for Monaco. It's going to be a pretty straightforward one, I think, for the fan amp video on Monday. So we'll go from there. I'm really excited for it. So we'll see what they can do. Especially with who do we bring in. Let me turn it off here. It's just because the microphone's a little bit further away. Still a lot of time for other people to have bad weekends. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not too pissed off. You would have seen, I think the worst live stream I had to do after a Grand Prix weekend was Canada, because Canada was bad. Canada 2024 was the season ender for me in the top 1K. That whole season I was in the top 500 in the global leagues. I had a really good start. Then Monaco happened, and then I dropped to like 700, 800 or something. And then Canada happened, and I dropped to like 4,000, 5,000. And I literally didn't get back into the top 1K until Abu Dhabi, when I went crazy on Charles Leclerc 2 times, and it worked out as a differential. I'm so glad I got rid of Ocon this week. That minus 20 would have tilted me. I just can't believe it's crazy, because obviously going into it, I'm thinking a minus 10 for a for an increase in budget of around 0. I was like, increased budget of 0.2. I was like, the maths isn't mathing, you know what I mean? But then of course now it's a minus 10 for a 0.6 minimum budget increase. It was painful. It was quite painful. Limitless is an option in Monaco. Yeah, 100%. If you had the Limitless building teams of McLaren, Sauber, McLaren, Sauber, Piastri, Norris teams, you're good to go. If you had McLaren, Williams teams, and didn't have a DNF, you're also good to go. I would say realistically, let me get up a team that would probably be, because this was the Limitless team I said to use, I believe, if you had the dinero for it. And if you had something like this, 100% Limitless is definitely a go for Monaco. If you had something like this, McLaren Williams, Albon, Hulkenberg or Bortoletto, it's a go. It's just if you had McLaren Mercedes, it might not work out too great. But Hadjar with 5 points, even though he went down minus 0.2, is still fine to hold, which is a good thing at least. So I would say Limitless for anyone who was working on using Limitless in Monaco would be completely fine, because they would have had McLaren Williams or McLaren Sauber. All action-packed weekends appear to have the toughest fantasy-wise. Yeah, Rebel. That's what I was talking about like 10 minutes ago. Whereas it's so hard to separate the two, because you could be watching such a great race. Again, I have to do it like relative, but a good Imola race. Because at the end of the day, it was still an Imola race. It was still quite hard when people got into trains. But different strategies worked great in making it exciting. But that's also, because we have the drama, it always seems to be the drivers we need to not crash out are the ones who are crashing or having issues. And then it's all a hullabaloo. How many points did you score this weekend? 119. It wasn't a good weekend. 119, but it's one of those things where you just need 1 or 2 good weekends and you've recovered from this. So it's completely fine. Well, it's not fine, but it's not a crippling sort of blow. I had Alonso, Sainz, Hadjar, Piastri back in Australia. I think I was in a similar boat. I think I had Hadjar. I might have had Hadjar. And I know I had McLaren Mercedes, which didn't work out too great as well. No, was it McLaren Mercedes? Yeah. Because I still was a bit skeptical about how the whole budget building was working, because in my eyes, it was still ridiculous what we were seeing. And now it's because the budget building, also the template was slightly different, and it made getting budget seem like it was child's play. It was nothing. I remember at the time. Points and budget gains this week was painfully low. Yeah, it's one of those things. At least budget wise, I'm still doing good. It's one bad weekend. That's completely fine. So we're good on that side, but it was good enough to keep me at the top of my mini league. Oh, perfect. I should have read that before as well. That's perfect. That works out pretty good. You can't complain too much about that, innit? So we're good to go. People without any chips scored 100 plus points over my regular team. Oh my god. Well, you know what that is? It's anyone who didn't have Mercedes. If you had Williams, Red Bull, or Ferrari with McLaren, then you would have got around 200 points, which is around what we were, which would be a great weekend if that's anything anyone had. 71. Oh, hang on. Right. Lannister, it should be fine. Do you want me to put your team in to have a look at what we're working with? Because if it's similar to mine, I believe yours was similar to mine. It was just Albon over Ocon, right? I believe so. 119 Maslam. It was not a good weekend, but we get ready for Monaco and go, basically. Albon scoring, what he scored probability-wise was really low. Virtual safety car timing was perfect. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, of course, having a bit of luck in F1 is always great. And Albon, 19 points at Imola. If you'd told me that yesterday, if you told me that 7 hours ago, I'd have been like, what the hell are you talking about? 19 points, you pull in my leg, this isn't possible. But it turns out it was. It is what it is. We'll be better and back from Monaco. At least, hey, I don't know where he is at the minute, but Bortoletto at the minute times 2 minus 8. I mean, it's gonna improve. Oh, hang on, I'll be back in a second. Sorry about that, everyone. Just had to get up and do something. Damn, about the same here. Hopefully Monaco will be better. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be fine. That's what I keep saying. It's like, if anyone saw my Twitter, I couldn't think of anything better than this, like, GIF or whatever it's called, to put. And this is honestly how I was feeling throughout the whole thing. It's one of those ones. But hey, things happen and we carry on and push through. I went with Ferrari, not sure how it worked out. Zubi, now that is a crazy differential, because I could see why people went the Red Bull route on the Max Brilliance. And I mean, hey, I was shouting at the top of the roofs about all of this Max Brilliance, and it did happen. So F1 Predicts Rise, actually, I'll show you my F1 Predicts. I think, will they be updated? I don't know. F1 Predicts, I actually got the podium spot on, which was actually incredible. I don't think I've ever done that before, but it's a shame that I'm pretty sure every single other, I got the 2 times wrong. Kimi Antonelli getting outside of the top 10, crazy. Fastest lap, Piastri, no. Colapinto, what was I thinking? I was completely in delusional land. 19, no. Under 29.5, no. Virtual safety car, yes, that was okay. And Alpine, actually, oh my god, Alpine better still be. They should be, right? They are. Oh, that would have been so funny if Sauber had managed to be ahead of Alpine after all of that. Because that's what I was talking about as well with Hulkenberg. I was like, oh, unless we get some crazy race, this is going to be fine. Monaco perfect race for final fix, since it depends so much on quali. Yeah. I'm trying to think what it would be the scenario. So it would be a scenario if we had something similar around Imola, where one of the Ferraris and Antonelli didn't qualify in the top 10. Or the likes of, if you're flipping about with a bit of money, if you had Piastri and you had enough to final fix to Norris, if he looks better, or Verstappen, whoever's on pole position, that's who you really want to be using. Right, he's back. This is a driver's track, picks max instantly. Yeah, 100%. Well, that's what I was thinking for F1 Predicts, and that was perfect. But things happen. Things happen on F1 Fantasy. Yeah, no, Nixie, I had to go do something. Do you think going for triple Williams in Monaco is good? Well, Sainz should be, I believe, if we go to the statistics, Sainz should be usable. Yeah, 12 and 12. No, 12, 0, 12. No. Sainz isn't really going to be usable still. It's going to be tinkering on whether or not. So I think triple Williams, no. I think double Williams with Williams and Albon, 100% would be half decent. Bear in mind, though, Albon with 10 and 19 should be fine. But again, I'm using the same logic what happened in Imola and didn't happen. But Monaco's Monaco, so Monaco definitely won't have many overtakes. We know 100% for a fact. So Albon probably won't score more than 10 points. So it'll be a little bit tougher, but he's still one of the best to use. But right now, I can tell you straight away, if we go back to the live scoring, the drivers who are going to be in hot demand coming into Monaco will still be Piastri. I think he's the clear cut. We're fine keeping him there. You're now going to have people with Hulkenberg in the team. Sometimes you're going to be looking at Albons being kept in Monaco, which is such a shame because some of the points... me and Leapers had the same idea of having Stroll in at Imola, hoping he just gets 1 point. How hard was it to just get 1 point? And then, what's it called? Then we didn't have to use a transfer to go from Albon to Stroll. But now Albon looks pretty fine. If you have Albon, you keep Albon. If you had Stroll, you had Stroll. Then, what's it called? You've also got people who could be running Tsunoda because he had some good points from Miami. You also have people who will be bringing in the likes of Stroll, still usable, I'm pretty sure, because he got so many points in Miami. Gasly will be the other one. So it'll be people bringing in Stroll, Bortoletto, Gasly, Hadjar, yeah, he'll be used for Monaco. Hulkenberg, Albon will be the B tier drivers. People are umming and ahhing to bring in. I can tell you right now, my thinking is it will be Ocon to Gasly, straight away, easy peasy, and then potentially someone like Colapinto to a Hulkenberg. Wait, are you saying if we have Stroll, we keep him? Well, here's the thing, like, nothing much changes heading into Monaco with him. Because we don't have still a lot of clear-cut 0.6 million chances, I think Gasly 100% is one that people will be bringing in. But it wouldn't be worth taking a -10 to go from Stroll to Albon. Yeah, I know. That's the issue with it. It's Stroll. But he still will only need about 2 to 3 points, if my maths is right, to go up 0.2 million in Monaco. So he's still not a half bad shout. Of course, I now think Albon's around similar levels, so Albon will be very much used. So we'll see. I need to check the calculations as well to see who I can and can't afford. But it could be Gasly and Albon in for Stroll and Ocon, or it could be Ocon and Colapinto out, which is most likely what I'll be doing. And then I've got the best of the budget builders still, which could end up being good because I'm sure some people would be taking a -10 to make sure they could get to some of those teams. Can I still join your league now with my second team? Jay, yeah, I'm pretty sure when it comes to the fantasy formula, let it load. When it comes to fantasy formula, you can join at any time, but I don't think you can't flip your teams around. So if you've joined with team 1, I think you can't join with your other team if you've joined with team 1. Yeah. You can only use one team in there. So if you've already got a team in there, sadly no, but if you haven't, you just head over to the fantasy formula on the featured leagues, which is still crazy, by the way. I can't believe we've got a featured league, which is ridiculous. How is my face on the F1 website? It still feels very alien to me. But it's like you know where it's like the memes where it's like how did I get there? How did I get it? You see the face and it's like how did he get there? This person in my mini league has 1,500 points. With no chips used, ahead of me having used Limitless. Their budget is 106.8 and I have 113.2. How do I plan for it? So, Lannister, that's the thing. So, you're still sitting completely fine. Yeah, they wouldn't have used chips, but your budget is still so much more that there will be a good 5 to 7 races where you'll be then outscoring them. So, teams like that are looking great so far. And that's why I also say, of course, it's nice to have a great global rank now. And it is a bit of delusion from me at the same time where it's like, oh, rank doesn't matter at the minute. But we'll start seeing the stabilised, legitimate ranks around Spa. Because that's the point in time where anyone who used all of their chips at the start and they're in the top 1,000 will have dropped back. People who focused on points at the start will start dropping back. And you'll see the people who've been building budget and stuff moving forward. And then it will start to settle. And then you'll only be jumping up a few hundred or 1,000 each Grand Prix weekend when you have a good one or a bad one. But right now, because it hasn't settled yet, you'll see I had one bad weekend and I dropped 10k on the ranks. You have one good weekend and you could go up 20, 30k in the ranks. But yeah, like I mentioned, it will all settle eventually. But my bad. So the plan, what you need to do, Lannister is still focused on trying to get to those 2 A-tier drivers and A-tier constructors, but it's play the budget game, innit? So you're gonna want to try to bring in Gasly and Hulkenberg are now the 2 I've got my eyes on, or Gasly and Albon. So I know Stroll isn't the most luxurious of people to have in your team, but I still think he's going to be one of the best for budget building in Monaco. Like I mentioned, for budget-wise, it's going to be people like Hadjar, it's going to be people like Stroll, it's going to be people like Albon, it's going to be people like Gasly, sort of thing. Aren't we losing points? They are 200 plus ahead with Limitless to use, and they are already 100 points ahead of use of me who's used it. Yeah, but we're at the point where even now with our budget teams, the budget's not... the budget's not damaging us anymore. Like, I'm not playing a McLaren... Well, I'm not playing a McLaren Williams. That would have been better this week, you know what I mean? But we're playing good teams and still gaining budget, which is fine now. But the rules, he'll find them, I'm sure of it. I know. Oh, Lance, my boy. Hey, you know what? At least he didn't get a DNF, because genuinely, I know this is like, this is thinking very much, okay, what could have gone worse and what actually was better. At least the DNF was from a driver who was already looking at getting a minus 0.2 or a minus 0.6, and I was getting rid of them anyway. If it had happened to someone like Hadjar, or if it had happened to someone like Stroll, or Piastri, then I think I would have been in a lot more shit, which would have been so much more annoying. I should have taken Albon for Ocon, as you suggested. Oh, Lannister, I didn't realise you didn't take it. But yeah, no. I thought it's such a shame I didn't have 0.6 million more, because if I had 0.6 million more, I would have played Hadjar, Colapinto, Stroll, and Albon, and then I would have actually gone up 0.5 million. No, 0.5 million in budget, which would have been... No, hang on. I would have gone up 0.7 million instead, and I would have had those juicy points from Alex Albon. But, you know, we live and we learn. You can't talk about it forever, you know what I mean? It's like how I could have had Red Bull, but I didn't. Or the Verstappen thing, innit? Oh gosh, just checking as well, they still haven't updated the points. Like I thought, in half an hour wouldn't have been amazing. Would have required minus 20, so I didn't, but I have wildcards, so I could have used that. Yeah, it was one of those weird ones, wasn't it? Because I always say if it takes minus 20, it's fine. Wildcard's usable, but it was such a weird track where I was like, I still didn't like it as a wildcard track, because we're sort of settling our teams now, And if you hadn't used wildcard yet, it's one of those ones where you'd probably want to stick with it until we had the likes of moving over to the A tier driver and 2A tier constructors teams. Because then you can go instantly without worrying, bim bam bum, cool, I can use 5 transfers, it doesn't bloody matter, sort of thing. Because it will be a full revamp once we do it. You'd probably need to go down to cheaper B tier assets, and then you're fine. We will win our budget back 100%. Yeah, we're still living life. 100% still living life. 112 is like how I'm now down to 112.1 million in budget. However, 112.1 million is still good budget. It's still good enough budget to. Now, I will say, I think my top 1,000k dream this season is very much on a thin line that could be cut if I don't have a good weekend in Monaco and onwards. But top 5k, 100%, it will still happen this season if I keep going with the way I'm going. But top K, I'm still hoping I can get to. But ebbs and flows. So can't complain too much. When do you think F1 will update results? It's one of those things, isn't it? Sometimes they take 6 hours. Sometimes they take 24 hours. All we know is it's always slow. So that's why I don't even bother looking at the... I don't even bother refreshing it half the time. I just keep the live scoring up from F1 Fantasies. Now, this would be very mean. And I hope for Albon... anyone who does have Albon, that it doesn't work out for you like this. But sometimes the overtakes can be a little bit dodgy on F1 Fantasy tools, and the points can be different. And that'd be quite funny if, let's say, he went down to 18-17 and only got 0.2. It'd make my day, but it sure as hell wouldn't make anyone else's day. I'd be sitting there like with my measly 119 points, like, yes, a small win. We're saving my wildcard for Spain or so. Yeah, and I think Spain was probably when people will definitely be looking around the 2 A-tier drivers with constructors. So that's sort of where it moves to. We need a clear second A constructor. Yeah, I know. It's doing my head in. I mean, with Williams now doing so well as well, you just think to yourself, and I mean, 85% agreed. It's not crazy to say that Williams are good for budget and points. They really are. They really are not a terrible option. They're guaranteed 0.6 million. And from what we've bloody seen, if they can do this, I mean, obviously they won't do it every weekend. They got lucky with a few things. But if they can be in the top 10, both of them, it might be worth it. It genuinely, considering how different Mercedes and Ferraris can be each weekend. So we'll see what happens. Will Antonelli go down in price, meaning less budget needed for double A-tier drivers? Yeah, so that's actually not something I touched upon. But yeah, Antonelli will be going down minus 0.3. So I believe because we've got Lawson and Alonso. Now, I don't recommend doing it just yet. You can start looking at it after Monaco. But if you had a team like this... you would have a team of Bortoletto, Colapinto, Liam Lawson or Alonso, because Alonso's 5 million, Lawson is 5.4. So let's say you had Alonso and Hadjar. No, or could you use Hadjar? No, okay, Alonso's cheaper. But when his points get reset from the issues he's got from Miami, this is what you could do. You could bring in Alonso. Let me get the calculator out. Alonso, he's now worth 5 million plus Antonelli. Antonelli's worth 19.2. Also, by the way, this isn't something we've touched upon, but Antonelli's not far away from the B tier, becoming a B tier for one weekend. If he actually, I haven't thought about this as well. Because I think he'd still be fine. Because he's an 80-year driver, he should get enough points to clear his name in Monaco. And then he would only drop down. But he's getting close to being a B-tier driver if a few things go bad. And then it would be one of those things where you're working on your budget. Plus you're getting the points from Antonelli. But right, anyway, my bad. I got a little bit off topic. Then 4.5 from Bortoletto, 4.5 from Colapinto. So that's Alonso, Bortoleto, Colapinto, Antonelli, and Isaac Hadjar, would it be? That's 1, 2, 3. No, Piastri. Then Piastri, 24 million. What's your budget gain this race? Minus 0.1. Wasn't good. Was not good at all.
Hiya. Sorry to ask, do you mind if we grab some water from your tap there? Because our pump is broken. I can do it.
No problem. Go for it.
Thank you very much.
Where was I? I can't remember where I was. Right, yeah, no. Piastri, 24 million. So we've now got 57.2. Then we'd have McLaren, 31.8. Plus Mercedes, 24.5. So now, the cheapest team to get to Kimi Antonelli with Piastri and McLaren Mercedes is, I hope you can see this on the screen, 113.5. So we're getting very close to these sorts of teams, and that's what I was talking about. But, of course, you wouldn't actually want to have a team like this until they reset and you're not getting minus 0.6s from Alonso, because you still want to increase your budget till we get to having Piastri and Russell and so forth. Why have Ocon and Antonelli got a minus points? Isn't a retirement supposed to just go to the team? So, no. It's always been drivers and teams, but that's why people think it's a little harsh. Because what's it called? Because your full season can basically be completely ruined if anything goes wrong. But anyway, right. In summary, we're a little. By what race are we targeting Piastri Russell? I would say Piastri Russell is an extra. Piastri Russell is an extra 3-ish million. So I would say basically you're going to see people going Piastri Antonelli, or you're going to see people push it just a little bit back because they're going to be costing around 116, 117 million for those sorts of teams. So it would be 1 or 2 weekends. Let's say it would be 2 or 3 weekends after you can afford Antonelli and Piastri with McLaren and Mercedes. But like we were mentioning, it's one of those things where at the minute, having a team like Piastri, Russell, McLaren and Williams might not actually be too bad. It might be actually better. So we'll see exactly what happens. But yeah, that's the whole gist of it. So keep an eye on them. B tier driver-wise, the likes who we're going to be looking at trying to get in for Monaco will be Albon, Hulkenberg, Hadjar, Gasly, Stroll, Bortoleto and Colapinto. Those are the main 7 you want to be looking at. The best of the bunch, I think, will be Hulkenberg, Albon, Gasly, and then you'll have the likes of Stroll. Because, yeah, I know even though he got -2, because of the 25 points from Miami, he's still a usable guy for getting 0.2 million in Monaco. Not as good as he was this weekend, but still would only need, 2-3 points to go up that 0.2 million, which is not half bad. McLaren's still 100% the constructor you want, but I think we're going to be seeing a lot of people pushing over to those McLaren Williams teams. I think for now I'm sticking with Mercedes because remember they did get a minus. They did get minus 14 from Antonelli. So even if it went bad, but good bad, they would have been around Williams points. So it's still not like push them away. They're like the plague. They should be fine. And budget wise, again, they also should be pretty chill because they'd probably get more than 40-50 points in Monaco. But yeah, if you did limitless teams like Piastri, Norris, McLaren, Sauber, and you didn't have any DNFs, 100% use limitless in Monaco. And I would recommend doing a team like Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Leclerc and Russell for now with McLaren and I would have said Mercedes, but maybe McLaren and Red Bull if Verstappen can keep doing some magic at another driver circuit. And then we'll go from there. But anyway, I should get back to what I'm supposed to be doing. This was a cheeky live stream, but I will be on your screens on the Fantasy Formula over on FanAmp. When will that be? I don't know, but we're recording tomorrow, so most likely on Tuesday. I'll try to get a normal F1 video out on Monday, depending on what my schedule's looking like. But it could be a tight one. It basically, if I do put out, this is a disclaimer for anyone, if I do put out a video on Monday, I don't like calling my videos filler, but it will be a sit-down talk video. I'll be talking about a team or a driver, and it's one of those ones where I don't need to edit too much. So it depends if I have something to talk enough about. We'll do something like that. Then Wednesday, I'll do my Everything You Need to Knows, which I'm loving. And also, I don't have to do my forfeit this weekend, thank God, because Ferrari didn't get a penalty or a DNF or a DSQ. And then Friday, another post FP2. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining this stream today. I know it was a little bit hectic with me coming and going, perks of the job. But thank you all so much for watching. Of course, it has been a pleasure. Enjoy your Sunday. I keep on forgetting it's a Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Hopefully those Monday blues don't get you down too much. And yeah, I would actually recommend for everyone, have a day or two, a reset. If it didn't go too well for you in F1 Fantasy, have a day or two to reset and then get back on from it from Wednesday onwards. But everyone, thank you all so much for watching. As always, love you all, and I'll see you all later.